What we do here is so unique. Our group exists to create together. We create a highly interactive, supportive culture that not only teaches students about who they are as individuals, but what they can contribute to a group. We recognize students' strengths and assets, and we leverage those towards creativity. It's amazing to see these students create from the ground up their ideas that they have to actively prototype throughout the process, that go through innumerable iterations and revisions and prototypes and end up being alive on stage. I'm so proud of these kids and this highly interactive culture. And truly, the Willy Wonka musical could not happen with one person. It's a creative outcome that's impossible to achieve as an individual. It takes every single person in that production coming together to bring it alive on stage. It's not about the chocolate, it's about the ones you share it with. And those who don't believe in the magic will never find it. Roald Dahl.
How did you come up with the idea of Willy Wonka?
Yeah, I guess I'll take that one. So we always try to do a show that's very different from the shows that we've done in the past. And the previous show was Anne of Green Gables.
Yep.
So we wanted to do something really wacky and bright and fun and colorful and something that would fit the cast that we would have. So I had to fight for it a little bit. We threw around a bunch of different options, but we landed then on Willy Wonka.
What were some of the other options that you didn't decide on?
Jeez, I don't know if I remember now.
Last year, what was it? Into the Woods.
Into the Woods we had talked about. Peter Pan we'd thrown around a little bit.
Yeah.
Moana we talked about.
Yeah.
We wanted to do something young and fun
And creative.
Yeah.
We knew this group of grade 12s was a really, really creative bunch, and we built an unreal technical theater.
We can produce anything.
And we knew we wanted to do something really, really creative that would really, we had amazing grade 12s and a technical team. So we ended up landing on Willy Wonka. However, even once we chose Willy Wonka, there was a whole bunch of different iterations, a bunch of different scripts that we looked at until we finally decided on the TYA version.
Mm-hmm.
So we really liked that version because there was a lot of youthfulness and fun and characters and storyline and plot. Yeah.
How did the auditions go for that, since you mentioned that the group of the grade 12 was super creative?
Yeah, auditions went great, actually.
Yeah, we always try to be really positive during auditions, and it doesn't really matter, how good of an actor you are, how good of a singer you are. It's a very welcoming environment, and we don't want it to be intimidating or anything like that. So we just try to make it very positive and kind of fun. We always have candy that we're handing out. So
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and every year we're blown away by the talent. We get grade 9s that come out that have never auditioned before in their life, and they bring their heart and their soul. 10s, 11s, 12s know a little bit more what to experience. And we always choose the show with the 12s in mind. And when some of the students came in and they just knocked it out of the park, we knew they were meant for the role.
yeah, and we chose Willy Wonka because it gave an opportunity for lots of different students to have their moment to shine on stage. So we liked that.
Who were some of those students?
So the roles of Violet, Veruca, Augustus, right? All of those characters that had a lot of potential, right, to be really creative with. We were really excited about those.
Yeah, and then also even some of the lead roles, Charlie, Wonka, had already some people in mind in our 12s that just we knew would be perfect for those roles.
Yeah, and Mr. and Mrs. Bucket as well. You don't tend to think of them as star characters, but the people that we chose for those roles made those roles star roles. Yeah.
And then all the ensemble. Again, our school here at Bow Valley is growing and growing. So, to be able to bring in the 9s and the 10s and all of the Oompa Loompas and all those other fun characters was really a good choice for this show, and great auditions for that as well.
Williams Day, what were some technical elements this year that really made the show shine, and with your experience with tech theater this year?
Made the show shine. Well, I think we tried. We built a turntable. We'd never built a turntable before, so that was one of the things we sure added to our. It became this playground, and it started off very differently when Fashion talks about different iterations. We had originally, and I'm gonna say it because a lot of the decisions actually happened really early in the design. Because we had originally had thought the orchestra would be part of this and on stage. And so that created a huge design challenge. And the way that we had designed the set was to this is the largest set we've built, where it literally filled the whole stage. And that was meant to actually conceal or hide or somehow manipulate how the orchestra would fit in that space. And that kind of kept along. And so we had to find ways to enter the stage where we had always had open wings before, and now we're realizing this traffic that needs to happen. So our set became this place where we had places to come in, back doors to come in and go out of, side entrances that shut and move, the turntable that rotates,
The easy bake oven.
easy bake oven where actors are actually being wheeled in and wheeled out. Even our tap, there was actually a technician inside there. So it became really, really a playground for the techs. Bubble guns in the back. Slide, right? The slide, the boat that comes out. So it really became part of. I always thought of it as kind of another character in the play that that Wonka and all the other actors would interact with. Design.
My personal favorite part of the set was the gumball and the whole everlasting gobstopper bit with the balls and the sound effects and the people. Like it was so clever.
Yeah, there was 6 techs back there to run the ball. So yeah, it was pretty intense. But you know what's so cool? Everybody of the tech group was instrumental in making all that happen. Every single person.
Yeah, it was remarkable. And I wanted to comment too on our visioning process that we did early on this year. We switched up the way that we ran performing arts a little bit. And Mrs. Cholach started with the songs and teaching everyone to sing beautifully. And in that time, I was able to spend some time over with the tech team and working with Miss Williams Day on the overall vision of the show. And so we incorporated light and sound, and we used theatrical elements in design. We did Art Deco, and we did Nightmare Before Christmas, and we wanted that Willy Wonka royal doll feel. But everything was purposeful and everything was intentional in that design.
Absolutely.
Really proud of that this year.
That one anyways.
What was your guys' most favorite moments from the show?
I think for me, musically, one of my favorite moments was during Cheer Up Charlie, when Mrs. Bucket and Mr. Bucket and Grandpa Joe are all singing around Charlie. And it's just this beautiful harmonic moment where everything kind of comes together. And it's sort of a very heartfelt, peaceful moment. And it was just one of my favorites to come back to and listen to.
The technical elements for that were really nice too, because it just all came in.
Yeah,
it was beautiful. For me, that is a really hard question because I love so much about the show. I love so many of the characters and all that they brought to the stage. The tech team was phenomenal. And it's hard to answer that because I feel so lucky and so honored to work with such an amazing group of kids. All the actors, all the tech team, and these 2 ladies here. I feel so blessed to collaboratively create together and bring everything together. And I loved it all. I will talk about Act 2. Act 2 brought me a lot of stress. I actually lost sleep over Act 2. I wasn't sure if it would come together. I mean, I knew it would come together, but I was stressed because the actors didn't get much time on stage with all of those moments and things like the blueberry suit and it blowing up and Violet, her acting with that was so amazing. The gumball machine and the squirrels. It all came together so beautifully in Act 2. But I definitely had my fingers crossed a lot watching it, hoping it would all go okay.
For me, I would like yourself that there's so many things. I can't even nail one thing down. But this year I had started out behind the stage more than I've ever done before because there were so many technical demands in Act Two. And what I enjoyed most about that was just watching how the tech team started to work together. And it was like a clock, tick-tock. Everybody had their points and everybody was so focused and so into it and so committed. They helped each other, they encouraged each other, and if something went awry, we learned from it and moved forward. And when we had, there was one moment, I have to share this one moment, it drove me absolutely insane. It was the last show too.
Yeah, with the hand.
And I'm not going to name names, but the person that I talked to should know who this is. But I said, please make sure all the hooks are in the control panels, because if somebody goes by and it knocks, we're hooped. We're really hooped. Oh no, it's all good. It hasn't fallen yet. Sure enough, that one falls at last, and this hand comes out from the entrance and holding on to that. Do you remember that? The panel.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, oh my God, what's going on? And so I think I even went, in the show. And so then I run up to the control booth and who's up? Kinley. I go, Kinley, come on, get them to put a black hand out there. Get a glove on there. And then moments later, this black glove comes out and grabs it. And at least it wasn't this, skin hand coming out and being this crazy thing. Anyways,
that was funny.
No, it was not funny.
It's funny now.
Now it's
was
funny.
now. Yeah.
So I guess that piece, but going back to this, everybody, took it in stride, and it was nothing you can do about it now, right? But at least they kind of came together, and I actually think when everybody came out, that person still was holding.
Still had the hand on the thing. It was so funny.
Oh, goodness sakes. But yeah, cross your fingers on some of those, right?
Yeah, it was so good.
How did it feel once the show was done? Like the last performance happened, starting to strike the set. How did that feel?
Can I speak to that one?
Yeah.
Okay, so everybody gets tears. And of course, everybody gets onto the stage, and I don't know if you guys are there. Were you there? So everybody was on the turntable, and everybody had the bubble guns, and bubbles were everywhere. So it was a real celebration. And of course, we do the whole, kind of formal kind of thing. And then with the tech team, we all huddled, and I whispered in everybody, and I said, guess what we get to do now? And they look at me, and I go, we get to rip it down! And let's bring it down. And so it's a relief. It's so beautiful to have it all there, but I'm already thinking about what needs to happen next, which is we need to pack up and get out. And it's a beautiful experience, but it's
you
done.
don't really get a break from the end of the show to take down because it all happens so quickly, and you don't really have that moment until I think a few days later when you realize, I don't have to be at the theater for 13 hours today.
Yeah.
But I must say, this happens all the time, and I don't know about you guys, but so Saturday night, we're done, right? We know we're getting the lights down. So every single night, when you said a lot of sleep, every single night I'd be dreaming of Wonka, and I'd be solving problems of Wonka every single night.
Yeah.
So even Saturday night, everything's done, everything's out. I'm dreaming of Wonka, and I'm trying to solve problems. I wake up in the middle of the night and go, it's over. I can't solve that problem.
Well,
Okay, all right.
Yeah, I used to try to go to sleep,
it's-
and I would have not the songs, but the transition music stuck in my head between the scenes. Yeah.
I would have nonstop songs in my head, and every day it was a different song. So I'd be singing Cheer Up Charlie or Think Positive, and I'm like brushing my teeth to think positive. I don't even know. It would be in my head. It's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.